Nation.
Raging Review.
The Raging Cajuns will be a source of pride for this university, for the alumni, fans, and donors as we achieve success in the classroom, in the competitive arena, and in the community.
It's about to get really fun.
We're looking for dudes that will stand up. Well, Coach, let me tell you today, I'm here and I'm ready to stand up. And I challenge you, Raging Cajun Nation, to stand up with us. Stand up with us. Let's lock hand in hand and let's walk through the gates of Omaha.
Hey, I love y'all boys. Let's grind every day starting today. Let's do it. Y'all ready? Alert! Ready? Who's that team ready? Who's that team ready? Yes, sir.
I got one thing to say right here. Cajuns win!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Raging Review podcast. Nick here with you boys, Lane and Jerry. What is up? I know, Lane, you're actually I shouldn't say this, you're working. My bad. But we're stealing you away from your job for a little bit, right?
No, you're good.
All right. Well, hopefully. We're not going to tell anybody. Jerry, what's going on, man? How are you?
It could be better right now watching this baseball game.
Cajuns down 6-0. You know what's worse than that, Jerry? It's
actually 6-1. Connor Higgs hit a solo home run, so he actually got
another solo home run. Oh, that's great. Look, not to take away from Connor Higgs because he is a GOAT on this team right now. But man, down 6-1, 3 hits on the night against Southeastern. And look, let's be for real. The announcers are probably the worst I've ever heard. In fact, they're so bad. Don't you think they're trolling us? I feel like they are. There's no way they can be that bad. Lee Amade calling him a muddy. Come on, man. Like, it feels like they're just trolling us at this point, which we deserve it. We're down 6-1 at their place. I don't know. Jerry's yawning. Lane's indifferent. I get it. It's just not great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to dwell on this game right now because it's not great, and we're in the 8th and we're down 6-1 and we have no fight except for Higgs. So we'll just move on, boys. We had a lot of fun earlier today. I know you guys didn't have a pleasure of being part of the behind enemy lines, but we did have head coach Mark Calvi of the South Alabama Jaguars in to speak with me and also Josh. In fact, Josh led the whole thing. Pretty cool. But Mark Calvi is a good guy, good dude. And, you know, Jerry, you remember probably from your younger days. I know for sure for me. I don't know if you were in Lafayette by that time. That was some pretty heated games between South Allen and us. In fact, I remember even in the early 2000s, we had a couple of bench clearing, not brawls, but it came close. Kittrell and Robe didn't. They respected each other, but I couldn't say that they liked each other. Is I guess the way to say it.
Yeah, when my cousin played, my cousin Josh played from 2003 to 2006, and I remember a few games against South Alabama where it wasn't like any brawls, but you could definitely cut the tension with a butter knife.
You felt it, yeah.
You felt it, and I remember going to a few games at the old Stanky Field before they renovated it into what it is today. And I remember their old stadium being basically almost like a Little League park. It was like the entire stadium was made of wood. I think the stadium it felt like it was built in the 1940s. And I just remember it was such a war every time each team took the field. And of course we remember the 2003 foul call where it should have been fair at the Teague. And
terrible
it seemed like
call,
every time, it was horrible. And I mean, that's where you know, as much as we complain about how many instant replays they have, that was one of those instances where you wish you had it. But honestly, I think the beauty of playing South Alabama is we have so much history to both programs against one another, and we were kind of the OGs of Sunbelt baseball. So looking forward to this weekend. I'm really curious to see what Coach Calvi had to say. But yeah, man, to your point, Nick, you were there before I was, but man, there's there's no love. There's no love gained, no hate lost with South Alabama. When we
But
play
a
them this
healthy
weekend.
respect, I will say.
Definitely,
A healthy
definitely,
respect.
for sure.
And by the way, Coach Calvi's wife is freaking awesome. She threw a one piece out to some fans who were giving us shit for tailgating. But before one game, they screamed. I think it was some students came around and said, "This is a dry county" or something like that. And she just threw up the one piece and was like, "Yeah, screw off." So Calvi and his wife are good in my book. But we'll go ahead and turn it over. One of the coolest things, Jerry, you'll see is that Coach Calvi was actually talking to us during BP. So he's actually on the field. You hear a lot of wind because just like here in Houston and in Lafayette, in Mobile, there's a lot of wind going on. So that will certainly play a factor this weekend. But totally cool to have Coach Calvi. We'll get to that now and come back and get your thoughts with Coach Mark Calvi of the South Alabama Jaguars.
All right, Coach Calvi. Appreciate you joining, taking the time to do this with us. I know when we hopped on, you're out on the field and you guys just got your brand spanking new turf. So that must be something new over at Eddie Stanky. How's that treating you?
It's been great. Mobile is one of the wettest cities in America. And, having a natural surface field in Mobile for college baseball, it's just a tough marriage, So we've needed turf for a long time. And fortunately, we got it done. And I couldn't be happier with it. It's been fantastic so far.
Have the players adjusted to the bounces and the skids yet, or how's that working out?
Have they what?
Have they adjusted to the ball bouncing and skidding a little differently than usual, or how's that going?
Yeah, it was a little tough sledding early because, we had a couple weeks to get on it before the season started. It wasn't ready in the fall, but we're out here every day. And, guys are getting used to it. And we haven't really played with it where it's been wet. But we had a couple days where we got out here and practiced. I made sure it was like right after the rain so we could work on throwing a wet ball on the turf. And but these guys nowadays, when I was growing up, there wasn't turf anywhere. Turf was in the Astrodome and Three River Stadium, and you know what I mean. Like no one had it growing up at the county parks. All these kids are playing on turf now when they're 6, 7, 8 years old. So they're more used to turf fields than dirt fields.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's jump into the interview. We don't often get to talk to coaches after games like what you guys had this week, playing against Alabama, in-state foe, Power 4 school. You guys battled to the end, hit a homer at the top of the ninth to tie the game 5-5. Ultimately gave it up in the 10th. But I just wanted to kind of talk to you about that game, let you break it down a little bit. You've had some time to think about it, let it sit and digest. Talk to us about the game. Talk to us about how you kids battled and what kind of experience you take away from that.
Well, our guys played really hard. Last week we beat Ole Miss here at home pretty handily and went on the road and did not play well at all. We have not played well on the road this year for whatever reason. I don't know. Last night we were right there. We gave up we made an error with 2 outs that brought up the guy that hit the 3-run home run. So that really hurt. But so we go down and we fought our way back into it and tied it up. Like you said, hit a game-tying home run off their closer in the 9th, and they walked us off with the home run in the 10th. That's the game. But we out-hit them. I thought we outplayed them, but that doesn't always count. That doesn't always count in baseball, man. You can get 11, 12 hits, and the other team can get 3 or 4. And if a ball bounces the right way or the wrong way, or one of those hits is a 3-run home run, it can get you. So. But we had really good at bats. We left too many men on base. We left 10 guys on base. We were really just lacking that double, you know what I mean, or that single with 2 guys on, or that double with bases loaded. We were just lacking that big hit. But and Alabama had their hand in that as well. But our guys competed all night long. I knew they would, and coming off a tough weekend. So our guys, we've been a little inconsistent, to be honest with you, especially on the road. We've had some nagging injuries on the mound where it's hard to get some guys in there right now at the third of the way through the season. And, but everyone goes through it. Everyone goes through it. We had this weekend, my left fielder and my second baseman were out for Saturday and Sunday with lower leg injuries. But fortunately, we got them back last night and they seem to be doing fine. But we just, we've been really good in spurts. And then we've been bad in spurts so far this season. So we really need to not even worry about the perfection part of it, but just continue to worry and concentrate on the progression part of it and just be more consistent just across the board.
Now, Coach, we're gonna switch it up a little bit and talk about your career. I mean, trust me, we know you because we knew Kittrell, and then you came in, and we learned to hate you just as much. Not really. I think it's become more of a friendly rivalry since Kittrell left. I know that was like a Cold War between him and Rowe back in the day.
Yeah.
But
Well, when you suck, everyone likes you. When you're a threat, people stop liking you. You know what I mean? So I take it as a compliment.
But look, your career has been great. I mean, you started out at FIU, you went down to South Carolina, helped lead them to a 2010 national championship, came back to South Alabama as an assistant, and then took over for Coach Kittrell, who, by the way, even though it was a Cold War, man, we have mad respect for him just as we do for Robe. So just tell us I mean, we know Robe's story and how it was like for our guys to coach with him. Tell us about your coaching experience in the SEC and now moving on to learn under Coach Kittrell before taking over the program.
Well, I really got to learn under one of the best ever in Danny Price at FIU. He's like a father figure to me. I worked with him for 11 seasons, and my first job out of pro ball, and Danny hired me, and so I cut my teeth at FIU. There was no start in high school or JUCO. I cut my teeth at the Division I level. So Danny is the one that got me started, and then I've just been so fortunate. I worked 11 seasons for Danny Price, one of the best guys ever, should be a Hall of Fame coach, 1,200 wins. And oh, by the way, then took Miami-Dade North, or Miami-Dade Junior College, to Grand Junction for the World Series. And then Ray Tanner, who is a Hall of Famer, who I learned such a great deal from both those guys. And spent 6 years with Coach Tanner, just an invaluable resource, both men, but different styles, different places. So it was really good. I haven't bounced around like some guys do, which I'm not judging at all. I just, I was at FIU for a long time, then South Carolina for 6, and then being able to come here and work with Coach Kittrell, because I had so much respect for him, from afar, coaching against him. And how tough his teams were and how hard they played. I was the defensive guy getting the pitchers ready and, trying to game plan against them and their running game. And, man, you talk about some sleepless nights and some heartburn trying to get ready for some of Coach Kitt's teams back there in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then I had the good fortune, to work with him. I came in here, Coach Kitt had – his last year was 2011, and so I was able to come and be the head coach in waiting. We knew Coach Kitt was retiring. It was kind of a unique situation. Dr. Joel Erdman, our AD, had told me Coach Kitt's retiring at the end of the year, and we wanted to bring somebody in, and someone that knew the Sun Belt and that had a pitching background, and you're the guy we're looking for. And I didn't even think twice. And I love South Carolina. We just won a national title, and I'll be honest with you. When we won it, I'm like, you know what? To our other assistant, Chad Holbrook, who's now the head coach at College of Charleston, I said, man, we got a chance to do this again. We're going to be better next year. So I left a great situation, and I did a lot of the recruiting there. So I knew who was coming back and who we had coming in and who was leaving. And I just, I jumped at the opportunity to be here. Again, I had so much respect for the University of South Alabama baseball program in the university when I was at FIU. And then when I had a chance to talk to Dr. Erdman, because it's very, very important who I work for and who I work with. It doesn't matter. It could be $1 million job. If I don't like who the guy is or where, I'm not going to do it. So it was super important for me who I worked with. And Dr. Erdman was just a great guy. I was his first hire here. And it's been fantastic. But I had a chance to learn from 3 Hall of Fame coaches. Danny Price should be in the Hall of Fame. Ray Tanner is. Coach Kitt is. I still speak with all 3 men, a lot, often. Coach Kitt texted me last night after the game and said, tough one, and I kind of vented to him via text a little bit. And, I understand. He's been through it. So just really fortunate to have worked for all 3 of those men, 3 of the best ever in the college game.
By the way, before you go, Josh, I do have a question for you. Back in probably around 2000, I don't know how long you were at FIU, but David Crater was a first baseman over at FIU. Okay, that's a local connection. I played baseball with him in Lafayette, and he was over there. Were you there at that time?
I was.
Yeah,
I was at FIU I was at FIU 1994 through '04, so I was there 11 seasons. And yeah, Dave, poor guy, he battled some injuries, man, but he was with us 2001, maybe '02, right around that range. You know, great kid though, and he and his dad, you know, they've come up and they've seen me either here at Mobile or there when we're in Lafayette to play them.
Good people, Coach. Josh,
Great people and great cooks.
Oh, well, that comes naturally.
I know. That makes some great Cajun food, man.
But, man, how loaded was that South Carolina staff? I didn't realize that was the same Holbrook at CFC.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was, and, you know, Chad was, he took over for Ray in, in 13. And then kind of they parted ways with each other, and he's been at the College of Charleston now. I think he's going on his 5th year, maybe there. So, and they have a very good club, but yeah, you know, Monty Lee was an assistant before Chad. He was the head coach at Clemson and now the assistant at South Carolina, and Jim Toman, who was the head coach at Middle Tennessee. And so, yeah, I had a chance to work for some great assistants, you know, fellow assistants, and some great head coaches.
That's awesome. And thinking back to those days, Cajuns and Jags used to have a pretty heated rivalry back then. And obviously you kind of were in and out of the Sun Belt at that time. What do you remember about those Louisiana? Well, back then, I guess it was just from USL to UL Lafayette. And we're still battling that. But back then, South Alabama and the Cajuns, man, it was good old fashioned brawls on the field back then. What do you remember from that? And how does that play into your program nowadays when we see each other and play?
Well, you know, different generations, kids are different. You know, both teams know that this is a rivalry, but everyone will tell you, you know, every weekend is such a grind in the Sun Belt. If you put too much stock into one team and take another team lightly, it just doesn't work well for you. We know, you know, UL is always going to compete hard, and I had such admiration for Tony, and he was a dear friend of mine, and I was at his funeral, and it was just one of the worst days I've had. I know his boys, and it's just what was terrible. So, but just had so much respect for their program, and you know, being a mid-major to go to the College World Series in 2000, we had some wars with them at FIU, but they kind of were one of the first teams that said, "Hey, it can happen, man." You know what I mean? Like it renewed your faith at a mid-major. Like, hey, you know, back then it was Southwestern Louisiana. Southwestern Louisiana, they are in Omaha. The Cajuns are in Omaha. It can happen. It's not just for University of Miami, Arizona State. You know what I mean? A bunch of SEC teams and a bunch of ACC teams. Like, it can happen. Now, it's hard as hell, but it can happen. And Robe, you know, Robe kind of showed the blueprint. And back then, you know, Bab was his assistant, and Wade Semino, and you know, just some great teams and some great coaches and some great battles. So even though I wasn't at South Alabama, you know, in the 90s, my time at FIU, we played the Cajuns enough to know the most passionate fan base in the Sun Belt, hands down. You know, at FIU, we kind of called it the Friends and Family League. We didn't get a whole lot of fans being in Miami, and you know, everyone would go to the Miami games, and then we go to you know, UL, and it's like, man, you got 3,000 people here on a Friday night at a mid-major, and back in the old stadium, and that was packed, 3,000, 3,500 people hanging from the rafters. I was just it was so cool, and just the traditions that they have there, and you know, you think you're about to die. They're yelling and screaming at you, and then at the end of the game, they hug you and try to give you a beer through the fence. You know, and you really think you're about to get kidnapped or something's going to happen during the game, and then they're cheering you on afterwards and giving you a hug and feeding you. So just passionate, loving, kind people that love the Cajuns. You know, it's a great atmosphere, it's a great venue, and it's a great fan base. So I have all the respect in the world for their program and their fans.
I can tell you the cooking club will definitely be out there this coming weekend. So it'll be a lot of the same, even though it's in Mobile. But look, you guys this season have picked up some key series wins against Louisiana Tech. Thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome.
Big midweek game against Ole Miss. You guys picked up a win there. You did lose series against UAB and Georgia State. By the way, we expect you to be pissed off this weekend, but a lot of kind of what we're going through right now, a lot of up and down through the season. Do you think there's anything you can point to that contributed to that up and down season so far this for you guys at South Alabama?
As I look how we lost, it was, so, and I don't want to get long-winded, but Friday at UAB, it was, 30 degrees, and we lined out 9 times, had nothing to show for it. I mean, lined out into the wind, probably would have hit 3 home runs. Now, we lost 8-0. I'm not saying we would have won, but we wouldn't have gotten shut out. Saturday, we hit a 2-run go-ahead home run in the 6th to go up 5-3, and the umpire overturned it with no review, by the way. They overturned it. The first and second base umpire overturned the home base umpire for a ball down the left field line that would have been a 2-run home run. So it's kind of like, okay, this one we lost 5-3. And then Sunday, we got a chance to win on Sunday, and we lost 9-7, but we gave them 4 unearned runs. So we should have won 7-5. So it was sloppy play on Sunday. And then, we've had a couple injuries. Stevens hasn't been right. Our Friday night guy, he will not be throwing this weekend. He was, 93, 96 early in the year, has had a little bit of a shoulder impingement. And he just hasn't been himself the last 3 starts. He just literally has not been himself. And we haven't been able to win on Friday. And that was even at, Louisiana Tech, Jacksonville. We had to win Saturday and Sunday, which is what we did. And then, this weekend, he kind of hit the wall in the 3rd at Georgia State, and we lost. And, Saturday we lost 3-0. Again, hit some balls hard. We've had some tough luck. And then I was minus 2 starters. I was minus 2 starters for Saturday and Sunday. And then Sunday was a slugfest, and we just, we got outscored. It was just one of those ugly games. Georgia State's a very good team, and they're even tougher to beat at their place. But, when you come before that, you play I think 13th ranked Ole Miss team, and coming off the road, beating a very good Louisiana Tech team. And, it's been hard to carry that momentum. These are great kids. They work hard. They practice hard. It's just, it's coming down to, not making a play, not getting the hit, not making the pitch. When we've won, we've won 4 in a row, we've lost 4 in a row. And that's kind of the theme. We make the pitch, we make the play, we have the at-bat. The other team doesn't because we're making the pitch. And it's kind of been up and down from just a consistency standpoint, which is, it's been frustrating. But they practice extremely hard. They want to win. They go hard all the time. And, I judge them on their effort. I judge them on very little. I judge them on their effort and their competitiveness. And for the most part, it's been really good. It's been really good. A couple of those are, hey, that's baseball. And then there's a couple that really sting that we gave away. We've given 2 to 3 games away that stings right now. So we need to stop that and be more consistent because I think we have a good club. We got to keep guys healthy. And again, we've had a little bit of tough luck on the injury front at the start of the year. So hopefully, the guys that are getting back are healthy and can contribute on the mound. It's tough. It's tough though, a third of the way through the season when you're getting pitchers back and to get them work, it really is. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Can certainly empathize with you on the
I was about to say that,
on
Josh,
the injuries.
Like carbon copy, man. We feel that, bro.
Yeah.
I would say this before we start talking about the Cajuns. Last question about the league, and I just love how good the Sun Belt is from top to bottom. Look at what happened last weekend. Georgia State is what, a South Alabama and a Louisiana, we've spent most of our existence at the top of the Sun Belt. Georgia State, we look at them as a middling program. Not saying anything bad about them, just to say that Georgia State is a decent program, and you probably consider them 5, 6, 7 in the league. Talk about how impressed you are with the overall health of the Sun Belt and how it just continues to develop. And again, the last 2 years we finished in the top 5 RPI leagues.
Oh yeah, no, it's the Sun Belt is no joke. And when you added Coastal in 17 and Southern Miss and it's James Madison and all those teams are in regionals. We had some rough. 22 was probably one of the better teams I've ever had on paper, and we lost our Friday and Saturday starters week 3 and week 5, and we finished 5th. That's how good we were. We hit 302 as a team and fielded 978, and we couldn't finish games. I had relievers starting, and So the league, it's just it used to be, guys, that if you were, a South Alabama or a UL, if you played poorly against somebody, you could still sweep or win 2 out of 3. That's not the case anymore. You've got to play well or you're going to get beat. Like you ain't leaving there winning if you don't play well. Winning and losing, it's a razor thin edge. And it's, and my time in the SEC, it's sometimes, man, it's not who you're playing, it's when you're playing them. It's like you can be playing somebody that might be a little bit more talented than you, but if they're not playing right or their kids aren't locked in, you're going to wear them out. And that can happen to you in this league every weekend. Every weekend. There are no easy outs, and like we've been out of the postseason for the last couple of years and fighting like hell to get back in. I think if we can stay healthy, I think we have a club that can make a run. I really do. But there's just no breaks in the league. There's no breaks. App State used to be able to go and get them, and Kermit's done a fantastic job. And hell, they had one of the better offenses I've seen in the last 5 years last year, up there in Boone, North Carolina. So there's just nothing about this is easy. That's what makes it fun. But it's also, what makes my hair turn gray and my beard gray.
And I think that's what's going to reflect in the RPI at the end of the year when we go to look at regional, invites. I think, just because you don't win the tournament or you don't win the league, we're going to have a few teams in there that belong there. So,
right. It used to be, in 2015, we beat Alabama, Auburn, and Mississippi State. We won the league, the regular season league. We lost to the Cajuns in the 14th inning, and we didn't get into a regional. It only took one team. So I'm very, it's very fortunate. I'm proud that we were getting multiple teams in now, and it's a matter of, you got to schedule and you got to win and you got to play good opponents that play good opponents that play good opponents, and then you got to do your fair share of winning, and you got to win on the road. You can't just sit at home and play a bunch of games at home because you don't get as many, RPI points for that. So I think it's all the coaches' willingness to schedule good teams to go on the road and play Arkansas. You know what I mean? To go on the road and play Nebraska or Big Ten, an ACC team. To play all these guys in the midweeks, and that's what it takes to build this league. That's what it has been taking to build this since I've been here. And we've talked about it a great deal in our in our coaches' meetings. It's like, man, you don't need to play a team that was 4-52 the year before. Like, that does nothing. Yes, you're going to win. God help you if you lose, but that doesn't help any of us to try to get more than 1 or 2 teams in the league in the postseason. So I think guys have really taken scheduling serious and put together a challenging schedules and kind of anytime, anywhere, any place mentality. And I know that's what we have, and I'm grateful that a bunch of other coaches feel that same way.
Yeah, how far we have come as a league, I totally agree. A few more questions. We'll turn it over to the weekend series we have coming up. Stevens, Willingham, Davis, they got the start on the bump for you last weekend against Georgia State. Is that what we're looking for as far as rotation goes against us this weekend?
No, we'll see Willingham here and then Davis. Stevens has had a little shoulder impingement where we had talked about that a little bit earlier. So he's not hurt. He's not hurt. It's just kind of a nagging. So hopefully we'll get him back in another week or two, because he his first start this year was against Kent State, and it was 93-97 and a nasty slider and a nasty curveball. It's just he's been a little bit different the last couple of weeks, and we got to get him right.
And offensively for you guys, I'm looking at the stats right now. You got Brennan Holt, he's slugging 648. Duncan Matthews is batting 439, slugging 537. Pretty much all of your starting lineup is at 300 or better. Talk to us about offensively what we can look forward to this weekend against you guys.
Well, hopefully a lot of that. Hopefully a lot of the 600 slugging. I know it's a lot easier said than done, especially against a really good pitching staff and a well-coached pitching staff. I know Gunnar does a great job with his guys, and they're prepared. And it's just, man, we need a performance like we had at Louisiana Tech. They had a very good pitching staff as well, and we just really stayed balanced and we just didn't give a whole lot away. You just can't give at bats, pitches away to good teams and good pitchers, because they make you pay. Every game you have windows of opportunity, and you gotta you got to take advantage of the opportunities, and you got to get through the crack, however small it might be. You've got to get through there, or you got to keep working to make that crack a little bit bigger. And when we're going good, that's what we do. It's kind of a mob mentality, kind of gang up on somebody mentality, offensively. And when we're going good, that's kind of what we do. To be honest with you, that there's been some games where, we've had a bunch of double-digit hit games, and that's been the approach. Pass it back, have great at bats. No one goes down easy. And you just, man, you just try to get that guy out of there and bring the next guy in and wear that guy down as well. That's been our philosophy. And when we've gone good, that's kind of been how we've done it.
Hey, Coach Cal, you mentioned this team can make a run. You feel like you have the roster to do that. Maybe this won't show up on the stat sheet, or maybe it's something that outsiders wouldn't know. But if you could point to something about this year's roster, maybe it's chemistry, maybe it's work ethic, whatever the case is, what is it about the 2025 Jaguars that you think has that extra something to it that can push them over the edge to get back to the postseason?
Well, our guys like each other. Now, again, we haven't, it's not like we're in the dog days of the season, but they like each other. They have good energy and they work hard. They really do. They show up, they practice hard. It's not, not that Allen Iverson nonsense where, practice. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean you want me to go hard at practice? I'm a game guy. Well, we have nobody that's as good as Allen Iverson is at his respective job. So our guys understand how important a hard day's work is. And they show up every day to, they put the either uniform or the practice outfit on to win. And, and that helps when things aren't going great. When you have some good spirit, we have a bunch of guys that are good spirited and really good teammates. And so they really are. They're a joy to be around. They enjoy practice and they enjoy the work.
And last one from us. You mentioned the Cajun fans and you mentioned our passion, and passion's a nice word for some of the other things that we do. But when we come to South Alabama, when we come out there to Mobile and visit you all, what's one of your favorite things about having a big crowd? I'm sure you have other fan base that come and visit, but is there anything in particular that you look forward to about Cajun fans coming and invading Eddie Stanky?
No, it's just the energy they bring. It's the energy in the air. You'd rather have a game with great energy, whether you're on the road or at home, than a game that's like you're in a library. So they're loud, they're rowdy, and I love it. Like I said, that they're absolutely fantastic people, and you guys have a very unique culture that's all your own. It's like people from Key West. They're very proud of where they're from, and they're not a South Floridian. They're a conch. They're from Key West, man. You guys are Cajuns. It's just a very unique, very family oriented, caring, but very passionate culture and fan base, which I absolutely love.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Mark Calvi, head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars. You can catch him this weekend in Mobile, Alabama at Eddie Stanky Field. Watch the boys go out there and play them. Coach, we appreciate your time. Come on anytime. You're welcome.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you, man. Safe travels.
All right, Coach Mark Calvi. And Jerry, as you hear, I'm starting to lose my voice again. It kind of comes and goes. But Coach Calvi, I mean, I know you weren't a part of that conversation, but man, Coach Calvi, as long as I've known him, has been a super nice guy. His wife is wonderful. I know I told that story about how she responded to some trolls at South Al, but man, just good people. And again, just yet another coach that is tough to root against when you play him because they're such nice guys. Not Kittrell. Kittrell was like I said, Kittrell was like Cold War, Russia versus USA. This is a little bit different.
Yeah, it was kind of weird seeing that, kind of seeing it from the other side, because, when you think of South Alabama, like you said, you think of it being a little more intense. You think of it being a little more, obviously they're a baseball rival, but then you listen to Coach Calvi talk and, it's like you were saying, you're just talking baseball to a coach who seems really cool, and I know I couldn't make it, but I do want to thank Coach Mark Calvi for coming on and giving us his time. I know they've got a lot going on this week leading up to Friday or the weekend in general. So that was really nice of him to do that. He seems like a really cool guy.
And again, how cool was that? I mean, they literally had BP going on, and
Yeah.
Coach Calvi is out there, talking to us. Like,
Just
that's
chatting it
amazing.
up. Right,
That's
right. And
crazy.
that's the beauty. Like I find that I've always said that about baseball coaches. Like they're a lot more, nothing against, football, basketball coaches or any other sport, but it seems like I guess baseball coaches seem a lot more patient, I guess, because of the long drawn season. You kind of have to have patience and just
Yeah,
the way they
because it's not a
present
12-game
themselves.
season. You're 54
Right.
games into it, right? So it's a little bit
Right.
different.
And they're all just kind of like Coach Skylar Mead was the same way last weekend, or when we talked to him, and they're all just kind of laid back and they love to talk baseball.
Jerry,
Tony.
how you feeling about Coach Mead this week? I mean,
Um,
he got a little trash talking from our own radio guy saying, not a
Look,
fan of Mead on his call. Just wondering how you feel about him today. I think he's still a cool guy. I mean, the way he conducted himself on our interview was really cool.
dude, Sky was a nice guy. I mean,
I don't like the way his team acts, but
right. I mean, sometimes did I like
different
yeah,
conversation.
did I like the way his team acted? No. Did I like the way one of the player parents decided to swing at one of our fans? No.
Well, you saw how
But
that ended.
Sky only has control of one of those two things, and so I've got nothing against the man. I thought it was a great interview last week, and he even said it before the interview. He said, this is our off day, so take all the time you need, and we just talk baseball. And you could definitely tell he also, just like Coach Calvi said, he had a lot of respect for our baseball program, and talked about the experience that he was looking forward to. I mean, I wish the experience would have been a little bit better for their visit, but
Right.
my opinion of Skylar Mead has not changed. He's welcome here anytime. I think he's a great coach. I think he's done a great job with that team. I mean, they're really, really good. Do I like the way the players presented themselves in certain ways? No, but it's baseball. It is what it is. I will say though, I do, before you go, Nick, I do want to send our well wishes to Coach Mead and his family. Their home had some destruction from the tornado that had passed through Troy Saturday night. We had just gotten lucky with those line of storms that passed through Acadiana, but in eastern Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama, those areas got just devastated by a line of massive thunderstorms and tornadoes. And I know there was one that passed right through Troy, or right by Troy, and Coach Mead's house really got affected by it. So our well wishes with the Mead family. Hope the recovery is quick and easy. But man, sometimes Mother Nature can be mean, man.
Even
especially
the guy who
when you
got
have no control.
arrested that had a warrant that tried fighting, I hope his house is okay.
Yeah.
Wherever that is, whatever county jail he's in, hope he's okay there. But
the paddy wagon that he's in right now,
Jerry, RC chiming in. Yeah, he's checked out of Cajun baseball right now. Tonight was tough, 7-1. I mean, that's not great, man, against Southeastern. And then we got to go face a guy. By the way, they're pissed off because they lost a series at Georgia State. So now we go to their place. I'm not going to hate on Ryan's opinion there, or RC's opinion. I mean, it's okay to be checked out at this point because, let's be honest, we've not played great baseball, Jerry. I mean, we've won one series this entire season, not been impressive in the midweek. I can't hate on anyone who's feeling that way. What about you? I mean, you're yawning. Obviously, you're checked out too,
it's late, man. But also too, I think, look, you look at the roster right now, and look, I hate using injuries as an excuse, but you've got Luke Uhas that's out from 2 to 4 weeks. You've got Chase Morgan, he's out for a while, and hopefully he'll be back this weekend. But you've got Drew Markle, who's hurt. He just had a surgery. You've got Trip Dotson, who's out for the year. And I mean, you can just go down the list of injuries that we've dealt with. And like you guys had mentioned with Coach Mark Calvi at South Alabama, they're going through the same thing. And, to answer your question of why there was such an up and down year so far, you deal with it. Unfortunately for us, the guys backing our injured players are freshmen and they're young. There's a lot of youth. I mean, if you look at our lineup tonight, they had 5 freshmen on the starting lineup, Nick, or something like that. I mean, we've got a lot of young talent. And look, as far as the future, if they stick around, Brooks Wright, Griffin Hebert, Owen Galt, to name a few, I think we'll be fine. But what's frustrating to me is RC is just checked out. I'm not even worried. Yeah, he's just
trolling you at this point.
Yeah, I
which
know.
I'm
He
here
mean,
for.
like when he's called me Gary. So at that point, I know what he's trying to
call
say.
in and call you whatever he wants.
Exactly. But look, I'm not gonna like. Am I in panic mode? No. Is it frustrating to watch? Yes. Does
Jerry,
it suck?
We're in the second weekend of conference play, and we're not looking competitive. Am I in panic mode? I'm getting there, brother.
I've just
unless we
accepted.
win this series, I'm in panic mode.
I've just accepted the fact that, it's like softball. We're playing with a really young roster right now. Our pitching's been inconsistent. I mean, I've just kind of accepted who we are at the moment, unless they come out and surprise me and shock me. I'm just at the point now where it's like, let's see what these freshmen can do. And, I'm kind of looking way ahead, but I do think long-term, as long as some of these younger players stick around, I think we'll be okay. It just sucks having to deal with it now because of the youth.
Well, I think, Jerry, it's obviously it's a marathon, not a sprint, but I also think that we have an opportunity in the conference tournament for anything to happen. So I want to check out, but then again, like you can midway through conference, start turning it around. We can get our shit together and then go on a run in the tournament and then win. So when I say I'm not in panic mode, but I'm in concern mode. I am concerned. And I think any baseball fan should be when they watch what's happening. And I get injuries, but we have a whole roster of folks that we recruited here to do a job. So, injuries, but you have guys behind him that should be able to cover. I mean, especially against Southeastern Louisiana.
Yeah, there's no question to be concerned. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Like tonight, I mean, look, let's be honest. I mean, you're playing a midweek game against
South Al sucks. Let's just reiterate that.
I mean, look, you're playing a midweek game in Hammond against Southeastern, and you get 4 hits, you score 1 run. I mean, that's frustrating. I think the lack of fight at the plate is tough to watch. I mean, we've seen that since the Friday night against DBU. The Saturday game, the Sunday game, we didn't really – well, Saturday game, I take that back. We scored 6 runs against DBU, but then the Sunday game, we really didn't battle at the plate. The Southern game, we didn't battle at the plate. The McNeese game, we didn't battle at the plate. The Friday game against Troy, we didn't battle at the plate. Saturday, we showed some promise, and Sunday, it was our best day at the plate we've had. And then tonight, we just totally regressed from Sunday. I was looking forward to see how we can build on what we did on Sunday and if that gave the batters confidence. And then we come out tonight and we just go back to square one. I mean, that is the frustrating part about it. But again, with youth, I just kind of you can expect that sometimes. And I think now, or at least what I'm seeing now, is a team that I don't think they really know. Like I think, I mean, look, they're still going out there and they're trying to battle the best way they can. At the same time, I don't think they know like which direction to go, if that makes any sense.
I don't feel like we have an identity yet. And
that's
right?
correct. The identity. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a big,
you know thing. What? We lost. That's it. Turn the page. South Alabama this weekend. Hopefully we can win 2 out of 3. I'll ask you later, Jerry, what your prediction is for this upcoming road series. But before that, we talked about some maybe conference series coming up. Do you have that pulled up, Jerry?
Let me pull that up real quick.
No, he doesn't.
I do not. Up, so. I know. I'm slacking. Yeah, Look, I got Sunbelt. I got the live Sunbelt right now. Do you want me to do the series?
Nick is having to pull up, do the editing out of the I don't even know what.
So I do have the scoreboard.
Tired. I don't know.
No. Look, I got the scoreboard for tonight. Right. I will pull up the series for Friday. Do you want to do live scores tonight?
Up to you, man. I mean, what do we have to lose? Go for it, bro.
Well, I mean, well, it's not really a good thing to talk about because the Sun Belt went 0 for 3.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. This
Yeah.
weekend. What series?
All right,
do
so
we
this
have
weekend,
going?
that's fine. That's fine. So, yeah, JMU 7-14 right now. They're not really the JMU from last year who got the at-large bid, but they travel to Marshall for a 3-game series at Jack Cook
Same
Field.
JMU that wants to like get rid of every team in the Sun Belt because
Yes.
they're not as okay.
They
Those
are
guys.
7-14. I believe Louisiana or the Cajuns will play them the following weekend here at the Teague, but that's here nor there right now. Georgia State, who came off, like you said, a 3-game sweep against South Alabama, will hopefully carry their luck into Old Dominion down in Norfolk, Virginia, as they take on the Monarchs. The Monarchs right now 5-13 on the year. Another team off to a slow start with a lot of potential, but yeah, it looks like it's kind of like opposite day. Georgia State's the team with the better record at 15-7, 3-0 in Sun Belt play. Again, they will take on ODU on the road. App State, with their 11-9 record, will travel to 11-9 Georgia Southern. They'll take on the Eagles in a 3-game series at J.I. Clement Stadium in Statesboro, Georgia. Number 25, Coastal Carolina, will travel to 16-5 Troy at Riddle Pace Field down in Troy,
beat
Alabama.
Troy, man. Come on.
Both teams.
We don't typically cheer for Coastal, but man, in this case, let's go.
Yeah, both teams sit at 16-5. Of course, Troy out of the top 25 after last weekend, but again, Coastal at number 25. That'll probably be the series of the weekend. Should be a really good battle down in Troy, Alabama, between the Gamecocks and the Trojans. Also, Arkansas State sitting at 10-10 will travel to 8-12 Texas State down at Bobcat Ballpark in San Marcos, Texas. Texas State got swept last weekend by App State. I'm sorry, was it App State? I believe it was App State. They're looking to get their first win in conference play as they host the Red Wolves. Also, number 23, Southern Miss at 15-6 will travel to 9-11 ULM at Lou St. Amant Field in Monroe, Louisiana. The Warhawks looking off to not the best start, but they have some promise. 1-2 in Sun Belt play. Again, they'll host Southern Miss. And of course, last but not least, the Louisiana Raging Cajuns with a 9-13 record. Will travel to Mobile, Alabama to take on the South Alabama Jaguars at Eddie Stanky Field. First pitch for the Cajuns will be at 6:30 on Friday. So it's a pretty good series this weekend, Nick. Going to be curious to see what happens with Coastal and Troy. Want to see how ULM handles Southern Miss at home. Southern Miss, of course, again, number 23 in the country. And I want to see what happens with JMU. I'm going to keep an eye on them, considering the fact that we'll probably play them the following week. Let me double check on that real quick, Nick, while I have the schedule up. Yes, they will be going to Louisiana next week. So
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Should be some good baseball this weekend.
Appreciate you looking that up. Let's talk about softball real quick before we move on to the next topic.
Do we have to?
Obviously, no. Well, we're going to mention it. How about that?
All right.
So Cajuns go 1-2 against Marshall. They lose their first conference series in how long?
12 years.
2013.
Years.
Unbelievable. It's Marshall of all teams. So they do that this past weekend, then drop a game to McNeese 5-4 in Lake Charles, and then move on to face ULM. I guess, Jerry, worse than my voice or losing to Marshall, I guess breaking that streak at ULM would have been worse. I mean, icing on the cake, maybe. I don't know. But look, we knew this would be a tough season for softball. Not gonna hate on the ladies or Coach Alley or any of the coaches, but again, worse than my voice is the fact that we're not doing so great in softball, but great things ahead. And again, they have a chance to turn it around as well.
I think so. I think what's frustrating is somebody made a post. I think it was on Rage and Pagan the other day, and majority of our lineup that should be playing for us are playing at either Texas Tech. One of them's playing at Alabama. Pitchers at Oklahoma. It's like, man. And then you look at what those teams are doing right now. They're all in the top 25. And I'm just like, man, if we would have had all of them here with some of the talent that we already have, we would be in the top 15, and it's just that's the frustrating thing. Of course, man. It's the consequences of NIL, but I think we all kind of knew coming into this season that this team was going to struggle just because they really are starting from scratch with a new coach and Coach Allie Habit. So, I just want to see what they can do this weekend. Look, if you can get the series win at home against ULM, hell, just go for a sweep. Why not? Right? Go for a sweep. See what happens. Build some momentum, and just let the chips fall where they may, and just keep grinding. That's all you can really ask for.
People ask me like, why don't you have the same energy for softball and baseball? It's because we had higher expectations for baseball. Like, they were not in the same predicament as softball is. So yeah, softball is going to get a little more leeway because of the situation they're in, right? It's
right.
So, whatever. I'm over that. Jerry, you ready to get to the fun stuff?
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Let's see.
So look, Monica Hebert, who is one of my dear friends, I've known her since I was literally a kid. Met her in 1997, my freshman year of college, working for Coach Robe. She was a member of the cooking club, has been a loyal UL supporter since then. She noticed some things that were lacking that used to be standard at UL. And I'm not going to give away what those were, but she posted that publicly on Facebook. And when she did, that was so out of character for Monica, because I know Monica. She is a wonderful person. She doesn't complain. She doesn't bitch. She doesn't moan. But if she does, then there's a problem. And so she did, and there's a problem. So we had a great conversation with her for about 35, 40 minutes today. And I think it's important not only for our fans to hear that they're not the only ones that are saying these things, but that we're not the only ones saying these things. We say them publicly, Jerry, and we get lambasted for you're just complaining, you're just moaning, you don't care. And that's not the case. The reason we bring these things to the forefront is because we don't get a response. Honestly, we don't have a relationship with the administration. We'd love to bring these things to them, but we don't have that relationship. So as fans, we come on this podcast, we talk about it in the hopes that somebody listens and corrects it. So with that being said, I will go ahead and move forward with what we talked with Monica about today. A super respectful, amazing interview with an absolutely amazing talent in Lafayette. Then Jerry, when we come back, we'll circle back on what she said and your thoughts. But I thought this was really productive, hoping people listen. But let's turn it over to our conversation with Monica Hebert. All right, welcome in. We are very excited to, as I titled this segment, Convo with Marketing GOAT, Monica Hebert. Monica, it is good to have you here today. How are you?
It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Nick.
And you and I go way back. I will say 1997 was my freshman year in college. I started working for Robe. I remember you back in the day. And I told you I would have some embarrassing stuff, but it's more embarrassing on me. But I'm going to play this real quick because you were the producer. So let's take a look at what Monica Hebert, working for, I think it was Cox. Didn't you work for Cox Communications?
I did.
Monica gave me my first voiceover chance ever. So here we go.
New chairback seats are now available, and we invite you to come and support Acadiana's 1999 NCAA Regional Champ. The Raging Cajuns are looking to best their final rank of 18th in the nation and want you to be part of the action. Get your seats while they last. Call 482-6189 today.
Hi, I'm Tony Robichaux, head baseball coach for the Raging Cajun baseball team. Here with our seniors today to remind you that opening day is just around the corner, February 5th against Sam Houston State University.
Monica.
Oh, wow. I've totally forgotten about that.
Fantastic job. By the way, I will never forget. I want to tell you, I will never forget who put that back on there. I will not forget the fact that you said, we want you, which was something I kept saying because I'm a coon ass from Lafayette, from Scott. I kept saying, we want you. And you were like, listen, I'm not trying to offend you, but don't say we want you. Say we want you.
You.
Did I not sound like a baby in that? Holy cow. I must have been 19 years old. But
So
thank
young.
you. But thank you. You gave me my first voiceover work. I saw Josh jump on. He's covered his mouth. But those were some good days, weren't they, Monica?
Fantastic days. We had so much fun back in the day.
We did. So let's talk about, you had a Facebook post come out the other night and we all saw it. I saw it. And I said, let's talk to Monica. I don't want to have an interview. And I want it to be like super structured, but want to have a conversation. We say a lot of things on this podcast that rub people the wrong way because it feels like it's just coming from us four, right? But we are sort of a voice of the fans that we hear from and talk about these things. And some of the things that you talked about were about tailgating costs or about ticket prices, the overall experience, like walking in a Cajun field or the Teague with a freaking baby bottle. I mean, really? So
And those things happened.
yeah, so let's talk about that. So let's talk about your post and the content of it. I don't have it up in front of me right now. I'm happy to pull it, but let's talk about what kind of initiated your thoughts into composing that, because Monica is a marketing guru. She knows what she's doing, but like, you also don't go out and publicly ever say any of this stuff. So for it to get to this point, got to be kind of serious.
It is kind of serious. And I found it interesting, like I was saying before, that not a single person that responded to that post disagreed with anything I had to say. In fact, the majority, everybody agreed.
By the way, that's an awesome sound for your ringtone.
Girls just want to have fun, and everyone knows that is my my jam on my phone. And so here's the thing. It started off with this, right? We signed, let's talk baseball first. We signed a 5-year agreement back in the day when they had the stadium redone, and that they said that the prices won't go up for 5 years. Okay, that's great.
And when you're saying we, are you talking about?
I have some people that I own a box with down my field line.
Okay, understood.
Okay. And so they did actually increase it a little bit, and we just let it go. We noticed it, little increments, but we were like, nah, it's not that big of a deal. But the minute our contract was up, they jacked our prices in our box up $200 per seat. $200 per seat in 1 year. That is a 46% increase. Okay. So when you're looking at a 46% increase in 1 year, that's astronomical. And normally when you have increases throughout the year, because we didn't have one per se for 5 years, your increases are 2 to 5%. That's 46% increase totally exceeds a 2 to 5% increase over 5 years. And so I almost did not buy my tickets this year because I was just floored. I was like, this is astronomical. Why are we expected to pay this amount of money? And so it's making it to where it's unaffordable for families to bring their families to and experience Cajun athletics. Then you're treating people with such disrespect. We had a family of 4 that I watched that were coming into the game, and they refused to allow them in because they had a baby and they had a baby bottle that wasn't clear. It's formula. You can unscrew the top and see that it's formula. You let the people in. Those people never want to come back. I would not want to come back. I'd have been
But my
furious.
question is, like, do you really think these people are going to put vodka in a baby bottle to give their kid to walk in the stadium?
Right.
And if they do, that's
Kudos
a whole
to
different
them.
conversation.
Monica, but the thing is, you need to understand, it wasn't formula, okay? It was possibly cocaine, okay? I mean, you never know. You know, it's crazy,
Homeland
but that's how they
Security.
think. Look, that's how some of these people think. Like, what if it's cocaine? What if it's something else? It's like, it's formula. It's baby formula.
It's baby formula. And I mean, I know there are things that go on in the universe and in the, in the country and stuff that are dangerous and stuff like that. And you have to be aware and you have to be conscientious of that. But if you can unscrew the top and see it's formula, then you don't turn people away. It's getting out of hand. The sippy cups, a kid's carrying a sippy cup and it's not clear. Oh, okay. If it's clear, it could be vodka. Like, really? Did I freeze? Oh, here you go.
No, you're good. You're good.
It could be vodka, but I mean, the kid's not drinking vodka walking into the game.
I don't get it. I mean, and the same thing happened when I hadn't been to a Cajun field in a while. Went to a homecoming game against South Alabama a couple years ago. And this woman is like yelling at people, hey, you make sure you don't take that into the stadium. And it's like, is this really necessary?
Right.
Like, they're paying money. And so those people left. I don't know they ever came back.
We're paying a lot of money, and it's a continual thing. Just keep paying, just keep paying, just keep paying. I don't know if you know how bad tailgating has become. And
I've seen football tailgating.
I have the book in front of me right here. Like I did my research because we have a group that we've had 3 spots in a row, and it's right across from the Cajun Cooking Club. And our first spot is on Reinhardt Drive, and then the second spot and the third spot are right behind it. Last year, those spots cost $1,000 plus $200 for parking. Plus, you have to have 2 season tickets, right? This year, that one spot on Reinhardt Drive is over $5,000 because
Who's going to pay for that, Monica?
Cajun Walk. So my thing is this: we have had that spot for over 20 years. Our group has. Well, now it's not affordable. Like the Champions, and now they're calling it the Champions Fund, not your RCAF fund or whatever. That's the $5,000 contribution that you have to have in there. That's ridiculous. Like it's over the top, and you're not being loyal to your fans who have been loyal to you. And as a marketing person, all these other like businesses and stuff are creating loyalty programs to show how much they appreciate their customers, right? They have apps where, oh, you buy this much from us, we're going to give you this for free, and we're going to give you this for free, and we're going to do this for you, and you're going to win this and stuff. It is the total opposite at UL. There's no loyalty to us. It's you be loyal to them, and that's it. And keep giving and keep giving and keep giving and keep giving. And I've had enough. It's not fun anymore. It used to be $50 for a tailgating spot, and you could not get a tailgating spot because there was a list of people waiting for them. Go walk through tailgating now and tell me if there's anybody in there. It's empty.
It's been empty for years. Like,
when you, right.
It just doesn't make sense.
And I'm so sick of hearing, well, go down the road and see how much you're going to pay.
And that's a problem to me.
Well, no. But here's what I have to say about that. If you want to compare us to SEC, which we are not SEC, right? But if you want to compare us to SEC, then don't just compare us to LSU. Ole Miss, nobody pays for a tailgating spot at Ole Miss. You run for your spot, it's free, and first come, first serve. So everybody has their little niche. So why do we have to always compare ourselves to down the road? Can't we be individuals? That's who we are. Be different.
And not only that, before you go, Jerry, not only that, Monica, but I mean, an RV spot down the road is a lot cheaper and a lot closer to the stadium.
It is.
I mean, I've been there because I was invited because they were like, yeah, I'm not paying their prices for, like, I can come to an SEC game and pay less money.
I think one of my friends has an RV spot down the road, and it's $1,500.
Right. But the problem is when we say this, Jerry, and you know this, when we come out and say this, we're told, no, well, we need to build a stadium. We need the money. Well, I get it. But do you want a whole bunch of empty spots for a lot more money, or do you want to fill it up and charge less?
There's 2 parts to that, to what you just said, Monica. And I'm going to push back a little bit, and I'm playing devil's advocate for a second, right?
No,
because
absolutely.
Monica, we've known each other for years. I know you're a member of the cooking club. You've been a loyal fan for many decades, and you've paid your fair share to support
and Jerry,
this program.
I don't know if you know this. This is how old of a fan I am. I was a USL cheerleader.
Girl, that's way before my time. I thought we were about the same time, but that was before me. Okay.
So let me ask you this. Now the response or the reaction I would get, and I'm not going to speak on behalf of an administrator, but I guess the big argument on the flip side is we built all these facilities. We're trying to raise money for the baseball clubhouse. We got a brand new renovated football stadium. We have all these different capital campaigns and all these big facility projects that we're doing. We need to find a way to pay for it. And some of the arguments may say, like you said, we're not an LSU, but we try to compete at the highest level we can, especially in the diamond sports. We still want to go to Omaha. We still want to go to Oklahoma City. And to do that, we need money. What do you say to people that may say we're charging the prices we're charging because we want all of those things? And you're in marketing, so this is your wheelhouse. And maybe somebody who sees this episode may say, you know what, that's a good idea. A light bulb might go up and say, well, maybe to Monica's point, this may work. What do you say to the people that say we need to pay for these things, so we have to increase ticket prices, we have to increase the tailgate spot, we're building this brand new, like I said, $80 million, $90 million stadium, we got to fund it? What is your response to that?
And I'm not saying that you don't increase things. I completely understand that you have to pay for these other things. But when you increase a tailgating spot by 333%, which is what the tailgating spot on Reinhardt is going up, that's 333%. That's not feasible to people, right? When you increase 46% on season tickets for baseball in a box seat, that's not feasible. You have to be realistic on the percentage in which you're going to increase. And you have to allow people the capacity to be able to pay for this. Because right now, what you're doing is you're alienating people. And so those people can't afford it. So they're not going to go anymore. So you might have a stadium, but it's going to be empty. So if you had an increase that was tangible, but also realistic, and people can afford, and they can afford to bring their families, right? Then you would have a stadium filled with people, and you'd have a great crowd, and families can afford it. And then you'd have a lot more money than just having a little bit of people that could afford it because you've outpriced yourself. The other thing to that is this, right? Loyalty comes into play. When you have kids and you want them to come and experience the UL experience, and you don't have the money to do it because they've outpriced themselves, then those kids don't get that experience. I remember growing up, my parents brought me to every single basketball game. That's why I wanted to be a USL cheerleader, right? And then you have that loyalty from a very young age. And then from that loyalty continues, and then you become a ticket holder. But if you don't have that as a child, right, you don't have that loyalty, and then you're not building that loyalty from a young age. Though that loyalty is what continues to make people want to buy tickets from you and continue to go to games.
And by the way, Monica, they just changed the Young Raging Cajuns Club, which
I know.
I was told, well, we have to do this because, you know, it is what it is. So now, not only one, do they not have a mascot, which I'm still pissed about, and we can talk about that on the whole thing. They don't have a mascot to market to kids. We're cutting the Young Raging Cajuns Club. So where are you building your fan base? Because you're outpricing the common person. Like, I'd rather, again, charge lower prices to have a full stadium than charge high prices to have an empty stadium or tailgating. And just, I guess,
So-
but before you go, Jerry,
Go
like, as
ahead.
a marketing person, don't you do a survey on the market to understand what people will pay? I mean, is that not standard practice? Like, are we just missing out on that? Or is it just... It almost feels like it's narcissism is the wrong word, arrogance that, well, we'll charge this and they'll just pay to come. Like,
and I think to add on to that, Nick, I think there's a mindset that I'd rather get the one $10,000 donor and get the one lump sum of 10 grand than to get, $100 donors or something like that. I think that's the mindset of, well, I can get one person to write a $10,000 check.
Excited, Jerry, because I was the $100 donor 15 years ago, and now I could be the $15,000 donor, but I'm not, because I'm alienated. I'm told none of this is my business. Give money and just come to the games. That's what I'm told. So I could be that donor, but I'm not, because of everything Monica's saying, everything we've been talking about. They've priced me out because the interest there, like, I am there, the value does not match what I think each spot is. I see you nodding your head, like, the value doesn't match what I'm willing to pay.
And I'm saying that as a point because that's the way some people are thinking about this. They're like, well, I'd rather go after the one person that will write me that big check. And then my reaction is, well, what are you doing to cultivate more people to do that? Because if you're not doing that, and let's say that person is 80 years old, 10 years from now, they may not be around to write that $10,000 check. Then where are you going to go?
It's selfishness, Monica.
Where do you go?
You signed that $10,000 deal, you're a hero. You signed the $100 person, 10 of them, or 10 $1,000 donors. It's not the same, right?
But you should be after both, right? You should be after the $10,000 and you should be after the $100 or $500. And they should all feel special. That is the point right here. Like, you shouldn't feel like you're being alienated because you can't afford $10,000 or $20,000. I mean, you've been loyal. If you've been loyal to this program, you've been loyal to this program. And I have like another example. I have some friends that, and they talk about down the road, right? LSU grandfathers in their loyal supporters. All right. I have somebody who has a parking pass at LSU for football.
I know exactly who you're talking about, but go on.
And they don't have to pay their Tiger fee, right? They don't have to pay it. They were grandfathered in, and as long as they pay their parking pass every single year, it really doesn't go up. They don't have any changes, and it's theirs. They were grandfathered in. The other thing that LSU does that I had some friends that went and asked UL, and this is the thing where people are like, enough, man. Like, we've been here forever. I have another set of friends that they have a tailgating spot, and they went to meet with RCAF, and they said, listen, we want to put in our will that when we pass away, our tailgating spot goes to our daughter and her husband. They've been tailgating with us for years, and we want to make sure that they get the tailgating spot, and they'll pay for it. I mean, it's going to be paid for, but we want it to make sure that it will transfer to them. They said no. That is absolutely something that LSU does because they understand loyalty within a family. And we treat our people, and I mean, like, no. And I don't understand that.
This is hard. I mean, it's hard because it feels like a family struggle because we're all family and we love the program, but they're making it so hard to love them, right?
Right.
I mean, something like that should be simple.
And you should be thankful that that family wants to continue that tradition.
Thank God.
Especially here in Lafayette, we are very tradition oriented. We have an amazing culture, amazing food, amazing music, and we should separate ourselves as a university. And somebody said that in one of the posts that they commented on mine. We should make that separation. That's who we should be. We should not try to be anybody else but ourselves. And we should do things differently.
Because we're Cajuns. We're different.
I
think we talk about culture. Right. We talk about culture. We talk about Cajuns. We talk about who we are. But when we speak up like you and I are doing, we're told, no, that's not how it goes. I guess that's my next question is like, why do they not listen to us? Because Monica, like we've said, Jerry, you and I have said many times, we've been here longer than they have, and we're gonna be here after.
Yep.
Why are they so stubborn? Do they just want to be right? Is it because we're doing it publicly? Like, I don't understand why there's no, like, when we talk about engagement with the community, what you're saying is what I'm talking about. That is the engagement they need to listen to. But instead, they say they know better. They ignore us. They tell us we're bad people. We're not. Nope, you're wrong. We're right. And then we end up in this position. It's almost like, I mean, I'm banging my head on a wall at this point saying it's hard to be a fan at this point, right?
And I really think we need to have more local people involved in the decision-making process.
Bingo.
We said that so many times, Monica. Like, they need a Domingue or an Hebert or a Trahan or somebody with our name, because Cajun people trust Cajun people.
And listen, I have an example of a friend who came to work in Lafayette, and when he came to work in Lafayette, he was definitely not local, and he did not understand the market. And I had a meeting with him, and I was like, then I'm not doing business with you, because it was so stark. But he quickly learned the market and quickly learned the Lafayette culture and came to love it and changed his viewpoint. And then he was one of the best people to deal with on a business level, right? But if you're not willing to understand who we are and understand our culture, then you will never understand how to market to us. Because outside people come into Lafayette and think they know how to market to Cajuns. And I can tell you right now, they don't. It's a very unique market, and you have to be very careful in what you do and what you say and how you treat us. We demand respect, and we deserve it.
And also, too, like, you don't come in here and try to implement your business model that doesn't include the culture here and then insult the people here when they don't buy into your business model. Like, there's always going to be a business model when you have a strategy, but the business model has to evolve around the environment that you're in. And I think in Lafayette, this is the best example. I mean, how you do business here compared to how you do business in New Orleans is different, and we're 2 hours away. How you do business in Lafayette compared to Houston, or even Baton Rouge for that matter, is different.
Yeah,
because
Baton Rouge. Yeah,
this is a different, yeah, right. But Acadiana is its own country. I mean, when you really think about the customs and the way we speak English, but we speak English differently than other people. Our lingo is different. So I agree with you there, Monica. I do think that there needs to definitely be more barriers that are brought down by the way business is done here. And that includes anybody that moves here. You have to assimilate to the way we do things here. I mean, that's something we've always talked about at Rage and Review is, look, we'll welcome you with open arms, but you got to assimilate to the way we do things. You know, if you want to bring a model from somewhere in Indiana or wherever, that's great, but it's not going to work. It's not going to be 100% effective.
And, you know, I'm on the board of Festival International, and I do a lot, and this is my second round on the board. I don't know how I got talked back into that again, but I love it. It's like my baby. But that would be like us bringing in somebody to be the director of festival from outside. We tried it, and guess what? It was horrible.
I remember that.
It was just knock down, drag out, horrible. And we were like, she's got to go. And so now we have a really good director, right? From here, understands the culture. And that's what you have to try to figure out. Like, I understand we want to grow the university. I understand that we want to grow our athletics program. That's not the problem. It's how you're growing it and how you're disrespecting your loyal fans and your loyal customers that have been there forever and ever. You know, new people come in and they have this complex, like, I'm going to do what I want to do. Well, that's great. But we've been here for 20, 30 years, and we've been doing this for a long time. And, you know, have a little bit of respect for how much we've done. And I mean, even with the cooking club, we've been doing that for 25 years, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You know, most of us that are doing it don't see half the game, at least half the game, right? We're back there cooking.
Oh, I know.
Have a little respect. We actually have real jobs that we do, and this is on our off time that we volunteer to do.
What do you think this is, Monica?
Oh, we know.
Yep, we spend way too much time because we love the
I'm
program.
even at work doing this, so
yeah,
I get out how it is.
See, look, Lane's earning a living and doing this with us. See that?
Crazy man. Monica, before we go, because I don't want to keep you on for an hour and a half. We could keep talking about this all night. But look, I will be honest with you. I'm going to get blown up for this. Jerry probably will. I can feel admin texting me as we speak. They have, obviously, this isn't live, but they know this is going on somehow. But, you know, one thing that we do is we don't just offer criticism. We offer suggestions. We offer solutions. And that's what, I mean, you have so much experience, not just in marketing, but in marketing in South Louisiana. It is a shame they are not coming to you to ask you these questions on, okay, there is this disconnect. How do we fix it? So let's bring it out in the open. Tell us, because you, again, are so highly respected in the community. In your opinion, like, where do they start to fix this?
I think you need to, well, first off, I know that I haven't seen any type of community, like, get-togethers where they ask questions of the community. And we have this new stadium that's coming into play. Like, what do you think this is valued at? Where are those surveys? Where are those information gathering opportunities from the community to see what is doable when you talk about an increase, right? But to go and just do a 333% increase on somebody that's been there for 20 years is not sustainable. I think you need to seriously have some type of community hall, but you need to actually listen. You can't go in there. Here's the biggest thing with marketing nowadays. With social media and with people all having opinions, right? You can't talk at people anymore. You have to talk to people and with them. You have to listen And that is the biggest thing that we are learning. You can't just say, oh, no, we're doing this. If you're not willing to listen to what other people have to say, then you'll never make the change that needs to be made. And so they really need to open their ears and listen and come back and look at the problem and see if they can find a solution that's a happy medium. I know you need to make money, but other people need to be able to afford to go to the games. You want to fill your stadium. How can you do that? How is the best way to do that? The best way to do that is to make it more affordable for people to go and tailgate and be like it was, right? And it doesn't mean you don't increase rates every once in a while, but this increase is astronomical. And why? Because you have a new stadium. Hey, we can't individually pay for this stadium, right? It is their job also to go and get sponsors. And I have clients that are sponsors, like serious sponsors with Raging Cajun Athletics. Go get your sponsors and be reasonable to individuals.
I have a
And
question
take
for
care
you.
of your sponsors, by the way, Monica. Take care of them.
Right.
Take
What's
good
your-
care of them.
What's your view on the concessions and the saga with all of that? Because I feel like a few years ago we had great local sponsor or great local concessions and we had reasonable prices, and now they've jacked it all up, including the beer and no local sponsors at all.
Who wants to pay $8 and $9 for a beer? We're not the Superdome. And let's talk about the percentage on that, right? I can go buy that beer for way cheaper. And that's the thing with, okay, you have to give them an affordable experience.
Like $2 Natty Lights was a great experience.
Right. They changed that. That's gone.
Change it. Yeah.
But you have to give people an affordable experience, and they're not doing that. And I now with ESPN Plus, I can pay $8 for ESPN Plus, Disney, and Hulu, right? A month or a little bit more, and I can sit in my house and drink cheap beer for a whole case and watch a game. And that's what they're competing against. And if they don't realize that, and that is what the world is coming to, right? And movie theaters are experiencing it, and athletics are experiencing it. And if you don't give them a great, experience at an affordable rate, you will lose them to an ESPN Plus having parties at their house and watch parties and everybody having a great time, and they will enjoy themselves.
This bottle, you can't see it. Maybe you can. This whole bottle of whiskey, that's big, right?
Yeah.
It'll take me 2 weeks to drink. Well, maybe 2 nights. But that bottle cost me $50. That's 2 drinks in the Stadium Club for 2 drinks of whiskey out of this bottle. I'm with you.
The markup is ridiculous.
But I get criticized because I live in Houston and go to more games. Well, why would I? I'm saving money here,
We've kicked out all of our local vendors. That's a problem. I did see that they brought in the Peach Cobbler place, which a lot of people got stuff from, and it was good. So I think they need to bring that back in, because the concessions in the actual stadium that are not the locals is not good.
No. I mean, they give you packaged nachos, Jerry. I think they.
Oh God, it's so bad.
And Dippin' Dots is
so
$7
silly,
plus
Monica.
small.
We have great food.
$7 Dippin'
But
Dots.
what drives me crazy is we used to have, when Tolmuk was running Sodexo, we had freaking, oh man, we had the cheesesteaks, and that's when we had all the good stuff. We had oysters.
Tomac was great.
He was, and then he left, and then corporate America took over.
Speaking of
Jerry, you
point
want to
about-
give final thoughts? Oh, sorry, Lane, go ahead.
Speaking about your points of trying to get fans, we don't try and get the younger alumni. And I mean, I'm a younger alumni. I haven't been reached out by anybody.
I've never been reached out to, bro.
Like, they had one special, like, for 5 years after you graduated, you get a discounted ticket. But after that, you're on your own.
Okay, that is an amazing point, Lane, because they should be getting the information from the Alumni Association, and they should be working together to make sure that you know that you are wanted. As an alum, you are wanted. And please come to the game. We'll give you a discount on tickets. They should be doing that every single year to every graduating class plus 5 years out. until you are established and you have a better job, because when you think about it, like you get out of college and you're at the bottom of the barrel when you go to work. And until you can build yourself up and start making additional dollars, then they should be giving you a discount so that you can come to the games. That's a fabulous idea. And become a real supporter. And then when you are making more money because you've moved up in your career, then you have the dollars to afford the regular price.
And what I know, one of my friends at LSU, when they were still in school at the time, they signed up for the TAF, because if you join the TAF at $5 a month, then when you graduate, you are guaranteed to have the opportunity to buy tickets. So that $5 a month, which is nothing, gets them ticket access once they graduate. We have nothing like that, as far as I know. Jerry, do you know anything? I mean, no. So again, we say these things, Monica, but nobody listens. If nobody's listening, it's like that's a problem.
Well, part of that's the Alumni Association, and I know they have a new person in there for the last year or so that's been trying to push it. But I've always been somebody.
I've always been somebody. About, Jerry. There's always somebody new, and
the thing is, it's not hard because, let's take, Nick, you live in Houston. There's over 10,000 UL alumni in Houston. I mean, there's a ton.
More than that. There's 10,000 in a 10-mile radius of me right now.
Right. So think about it as of late, because a lot of people are moving to Houston. But yeah, to your point, I mean, Houston's a big city. There's so much to do, right? I mean, if I'm working in the Alumni Association, right, and you may have, let's say, somebody just graduated from UL, and whether they're anywhere from 22 to 27 in age range, right? And they got a new job, they're trying to get settled, but they still want to keep in touch with their alma mater at UL. So what's wrong with having maybe a watch party at Topgolf? Rent 10 islands, do like a Raging Cajun alumni event, do an Astros night, rent a suite at the baseball park. You've got 80-something home games, right? Rent a suite, 100 tickets, have a presentation about what's going on at the university, chance to give to RCAF. There's a bunch of bowling alleys in town. Have a Raging Cajun bowling night. I mean, there's so many ideas that you could promote your school in these other different cities, like even New Orleans, Dallas, Atlanta, with all these chapters. And you may, we talk about the $10,000 donor. You may have somebody that really doesn't keep in touch with the school, but has this chance to go to one of these events. They may say, you know what, I had a blast. I want to join RCAF. I want to buy tickets. Right. Here's $5,000. But it's like I always say, you're never going to catch a fish if you don't cast. And I find that sometimes we just, not to be mean, but sometimes we just don't cast enough. I think
we're scared.
In Houston, I mean, prime example in Houston, the big event for the alumni chapter is the crawfish boil every year.
Well, and the big event is me inviting people in my neighborhood.
Nick having watch parties.
Have crawfish.
Yeah, Nick having football game watch parties. And I think there's and I'm picking on Houston because it's the big city outside of Louisiana that has a huge alumni chapter. But, Dallas, New Orleans, Atlanta, Birmingham, there's so many other places in the area where you can have these events. And you know what? Instead of charging, $5,000 for a tailgate spot, maybe if you have these events, you may have somebody that says, I want to be a part of it, and write you a big check for that amount. Again, you can't catch fish if you don't cast. And I don't think we cast enough. That's been one of my biggest criticisms. We don't cast.
Well, and Jerry, you're so right. So like in November, and Nick, Tucker, Tucker left here and went to UNLV. And he called me up and he said, hey, we're going to play in Hawaii. And we have a big alumni that's going out there. Like the alumni is going out there. And they had all types of events for all the people that live in Hawaii that are alum from UNLV. They constantly were meeting with alums to get donations, they were all focused on that. And Hawaii has the kind of the same big alum for them as Houston does for us. And it was a huge undertaking. I mean, and I was like so impressed. Not only did I get to go to Hawaii, just
well, the beauty,
of course you're impressed.
And you see, Tucker got himself a good job. I mean, UNLV in the heart of Vegas. I mean, they're really, their main major over there is hospitality management. So their alumni must know how to do exactly what we're talking about. Monica, before we let you go, I do have a question. You've been part of the Raging Cajun Cooking Club for a very long time. I know the Cooking Club has played tug of war with the administration over the last 20 years or so. How's everything going with the Cooking Club now? Any issues, good, bad? What's happening? I mean, I pass by all the time and you guys seem to be rolling just fine as usual. But everything good with the cooking club?
We had a few missteps this year already, but we're working on it. We are working on it. We have a new game management, and so it's just us trying to figure out who knows what and what's happening. And so we want to make sure that we abide by the new management's rules, and then but they also know what we need in order to do our jobs effectively.
When in doubt, call Dugas. That's my motto.
Have there
John
been
Dugas got you covered, girl.
have there been any issues, or everything's good? Y'all been treated okay? Everything's
Jerry, quit prodding. We're
working it out.
We're
We're
gonna
working it out.
leave it at that. Yeah,
I'm just asking. Yeah.
We're being adults and we are working it out.
I
Good.
appreciate you, Monica.
That's
Well,
a
again,
good thing.
thank you for
Yeah.
joining us. I'm going to cut that off before that gets weird. But do tell us, Monica, do you have anything you want to let everybody know about you, your business, how to reach you if they want to do some marketing stuff? Let us know, because you really have the floor right now.
Oh, well, thank you. No, I've been with BBR Creator for about 23 years, 23 years. I'm the Vice President of Media Services, and I really enjoy what I do. I have some really great clients, and I place media all over the country from TV, radio, digital, Facebook,
That's
you name it.
awesome. Yeah.
And I was telling you, Nick, that, I don't usually post on Facebook because I'm always on the back end of Facebook. And once you're on the back end of Facebook, you don't want to be on the front end.
And you just put yourself right on there. But we appreciate it, because this was a great conversation. And look,
Thank you so much.
sometimes it helps to just get it out and let it be known publicly in a very respectful manner. I don't think anybody was out of bounds today. But the message is, we're here to give you feedback, to let you know how we feel. And nobody better than the marketing expert, Monica Hebert, if they want to reach out to you. So appreciate your time. Thank you for taking that step out of your comfort zone and coming here. And as always, love you and thank you for all you do.
Y'all have a good week.
You too. Jerry, boys, is it just you and me? It's just you and me. Jerry, get off your phone. I appreciate that, Juanes. Yeah. Look, Jerry, that was a great conversation, and I am sure you and I are going to get some texts tomorrow being like, this is not what we talked about. But I think it's important, man. I think it's important to hear from people that are not us, that are saying the same things, because that's where we get it from. Monica is a lifelong Cajun, and now she's struggling to be a Cajun. And I think we need to hear more of that when there are those issues.
Yeah, look, I mean, and just know to our listeners that the people that talk to Monica and are relaying these messages to Monica, we know as well. And they're all diehard fans. They're not Johnny-come-latelys. They're not a bunch of people that just show up to one game once every 10 home games. I mean, these are people that have been having season tickets for a very long time to 2 to 3 sports at UL. This isn't just some random fan off the street who came to a game one time and said all these things. I mean, these are people that have spent a lot of money to the UL program. So
just like Monica, man. I mean,
just like Monica,
plus years.
Right?
Yeah,
right. I mean, just to give you an example, we always are. It's funny because people always come up to us to tell us all these things, but it was good for Monica to all those comments and stuff to be consolidated from Monica's standpoint, right? Because
and
I'm
not
sure
to hear from us, because we get blamed that we're the ones saying it, and now somebody else is,
Yeah, and we're not.
It's redeeming a little bit for me.
Well, we're not making this stuff up.
No.
This isn't something we're just pulling out
And I
of
don't
thin
want to
air.
talk about this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
this is not what I want to talk about. But if people are, it's important to hear their voice. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I've always said, I mean, we're the customer base. These are loyal customers. I try to treat Rage and Review like a Google review or a Yelp in many ways for UL. And so sometimes, I know the perception of some people inside of those buildings at UL, it's like we're just negative all the time. In reality, it's the opposite. It's just you focus on, we talk about all these positive things and then we'll give like the 5 to 10% that's negative, but you focus too much on that instead of trying to fix it. And I think if you try to take time to fix it instead of just pondering on, I can't believe you said that, maybe we wouldn't have to have Monica come on here and say some of these things. You know, again, like you said, Nick, Monica is a diehard fan, and there's a lot like her who have had those same concerns. And, you know, to her point, she said it. She's like, you know, you shouldn't be taking advantage of a loyal fan. There's a lot of loyal fans out there who love this university and love these athletic programs. But, you know, after a while, if you keep doing it, how much more can some of these people take? They're just going to stop showing up. I'm glad she reached out to the youth, talking about getting younger fans. We've been saying that for a long time. You know, if you want that quick $10,000 check, that's fine. But most of those people who give you that $10,000 check are over the age of 70. And so what are you doing to cultivate that, to replace that 10, 15 years from now, when that person who's 85 or 90 no longer writes that check? What are you doing now to look at the 10 to 20 years from now? So I'm glad she brought that up. I thought the conversation was great. And I just hope we don't have to have more of these conversations. They're not fun, but sometimes it needs to be the truth. The truth hurts, you know, that's what Josh always says. You know, sometimes, you know, we tell the truth around here, and sometimes it sucks, but sometimes you need to hear it to make yourself better.
Well, the point is, Jerry, we're here to talk about that stuff, but also say, hey, like, you've got someone like Monica that has been around for many, many years, like me, like you. It's not just us. Listen, like, engage, ask questions. Because, like you said, it's not always fun to hear, but it's important to hear. You need to hear these messages. All right, I'm done with that. Before we go, Jerry, one thing I do want to talk about. I mean, Juanis, you know, is out here wanting us to talk about basketball, which we are going to do now.
And we're excited about it. And I'm excited to talk basketball now. Shoot.
You know, I asked Josh
I'm ready
about this, and look, I'm excited myself. I'm so excited I yelled and lost my voice. So talk to me a little bit about your thoughts about Coach Q coming in, and then I'm going to play an interesting clip from his press conference, not from him, but you know what I'm getting at. We'll get to that, but tell me about Coach Q. I know you got to meet him, right? You were there, you saw everything. Your thoughts on Coach Q and the basketball program. I'm excited, man. First of all, Coach Q got me fired up. Second of all, he's already got a couple of recruits that get me excited. I'm happy with where we're going with Cajuns basketball.
You know, I could turn this into a negative segment and just rant, but I'm not. At the same, and I'm gonna explain why in a second, but I'll start off by saying this. Yes, I did go to the press conference. I did get to meet Coach Q, and obviously, when you look at his resume, I mean, Nick, let's be honest. I don't know if you can get a better resume than that for a guy to become your head coach. I had said before, from some people I know who are in the college basketball coaching circle, they thought that this job was not big enough for someone like Aquinas White. And so the fact that we got him, I mean, it's just that's a huge get and a huge hire. I had the chance when I was at the press conference the other day before he walked in. I was hanging out with our good friend Jacob Lemonnier was there. The place was packed, by the way. The room was full of people, full of fans, a lot of local people that are really big into the community. And I was standing next to Coach Danny Broussard, Louisiana Hall of Famer. Got to talk with him for a little bit. And as I'm talking to Coach Broussard, in comes Coach Q. And, you know, you got all the cameras following him in. He's shaking hands with everybody, like shaking hands with Jake, shaking hands with just everybody against the window. And all of a sudden, he gives Coach Danny Broussard a big hug. And before you know it, he comes up to me and he's shaking my hands. And we got cameras on me and stuff. And I'm like, I'm just shaking the man's hand. And Nick, you're going to yell at me when I say this, but the first thing I said was, you know what you're going to say.
Regardless, go ahead.
Yeah, you know what you're going to say. I said, well, look, you went to St. Aug. I went to Jesuit. I'm a Catholic leaguer.
Freaking go, bro.
I said it.
Can you not have a conversation with someone without bringing up what high school they went to?
Look,
Come
dude,
on, bro.
Catholic League, man. We got to get that. We got to start that connection.
No, we
right?
don't.
Yes, we do.
No.
You Acadiana people don't understand it. Y'all don't understand it.
Because we're just superior and we don't have to judge each other
don't
by what high school they went trying to.
Not even close. That's New Orleans culture. So I'm gonna try to keep them closer to home. So the first thing I brought up, I was like, hey man, I'm from New Orleans. I went to Jesuit. You went to St. Aug. I always respected the basketball program. And it's funny, his face kind of lit up. And the first question he asked me was, what years did you play
it, Jerry? Sure.
No, I'm
telling.
listen.
All right.
Listen. The first thing he said was, "Oh man, that's great. Hey, did you play at Jesuit? What years did you play?" And I'm like, "Coach, I didn't play at Jesuit."
Yeah, we know that.
I watched the games, but sir, I didn't play at Jesuit. But I remember watching you at Oklahoma under Coach Sampson, and we had a small talk, and he was like, "Yeah, man." He started naming a bunch of Jesuit basketball players, like Mike White, who was the coach at Florida, and some few others. And he was like, "Man, we had some great battles back then." And then after that, he's like, "Man, nice meeting you." And he walked off and shook hands with more people. But, it was very personable 30 seconds to a minute that I got to talk to him. And I was very impressed by that because I've never met him in my life. I've never seen him outside of a few videos. And for him to come in and the first thing he did, he wasn't shaking hands with just like local school officials. He was shaking hands with everybody, and introducing himself and being very personable. And I thought, look, the first impression, I thought that was great. Then in comes the actual press conference. And, he's talking about his vision for UL basketball. And it's funny, Nick, and this is where the part where I said I was going to rant, but I'm going to turn it into a positive. It's such a breath of fresh air when our head basketball coach is saying, why not us? Winning the Sun Belt isn't good enough for me. I want to be nationally ranked, and I want to follow the footsteps of what we accomplished at Houston to get to the Final Four. Now, just think about what I just said.
But that's what we've been saying. Like, that's
Right.
what we wanted to hear. Right?
Here I am talking about, a year ago, what's wrong with trying to go to the Sweet 16? And everybody thought I was crazy. And, we can't do that. The Sweet 16. No, we're a one bid league. Basketball's dead in the South. We can't win here,
man.
And then
we can't.
But now, to all those people that thought I was crazy for saying that, to all those people who said it's a one bid league and basketball's hard to win in the South and it's hard here and blah, blah, blah. What do you say now to our head coach who openly said in his press conference, Final Four? Do you think is he crazy now? Or are you going to jump in on the fun and try to have that goal?
They're going to jump in on the fun, which is okay. I'm not going to.
That's fine.
That, to be honest with you.
But at the same time, it's funny how that works, Nick. It's funny how the vision is a complete 180 from, well, we're one bid league. Well, we don't have NIL money. Well, we don't have this. We don't have that. We can't charter flights. We can't do this. To all of a sudden, we're going to the Final Four and
Jerry,
be nationally ranked.
Can I give you a personal, not personal, can I give you an example? By the way,
sure.
That huge pour, that's from my boy Chico, checking in with me tonight.
He
told me I needed more whiskey to get
help
rid
the
of
voice.
this. So
it's good medicine.
Working on that. But speaking of all that, what you're talking about, I'm gonna go ahead and do something real quick. Let me share this. So all right, let me soapbox. Hold on, where's my soapbox? Here it is. All right, I'm gonna get on my soapbox right now.
Nick's going off. He's going off.
I was criticized, and you know who you are, MFer, because we're friends, but you know who you are. Criticize me for talking about attendance, okay? I was criticized saying, you don't buy tickets, attendance, yada, yada. Why don't we share what our favorite university president said about attendance today? Let's go with this. Here we go. Oh, shoot. Now, okay, hold on. Let me go back. Let's try this.
I'm also pleased to see this wonderful family here. They'll cover the whole first two rows. I think we just doubled our average attendance if they come to
Jerry, had I said that, I would be destroyed, bro. Hold on. In fact, let me play it again because I want to make sure. People see what we saw. Am I crazy? Here we go. We're going to play it again. All right, T-Joe, go ahead.
I'm also pleased to see this wonderful family here. They'll cover the whole first two rows. I think we just doubled our average attendance if they come to the game.
Jerry.
That's good.
So I would have been destroyed had I said that. And there is the president of the university saying what we're all thinking, bro.
We've been saying that for 6 years now, Nick. At
But we're
Rager
the bad
Review.
guys.
And we've been shunned and yelled at and fussed at and talked about because, well, you talk bad about basketball. What do you mean? Well, you talk about nobody going to the games and nobody supporting the team, blah, blah, blah. So number one, we fired the last coach because why? Lack of attendance, which is what we've been talking about.
Yep.
And two, you just have the university president, Dr. Savoy, at the opening press conference of our new basketball coach saying that, hey, we've got Coach White's family here, and it looks like we've doubled the attendance based on their turnout today. So are we still going to get fussed at for talking about lack of fan support, or is that okay now all of a sudden? I'm trying to.
I know what's going to happen, Jerry.
That's
is
cool.
Carson asking, could we interview Coach White? Someone else did in their podcast. The answer is no.
No, we won't be allowed to.
We are not allowed to interview coaches at UL, but stay tuned because we will interview every head coach of every team we play this season outside of UL because
well, we can't interview our coaches because we talk about how bad attendance is, even though the university president said that publicly at the opening press conference, which, by the way, I had the biggest grin on my face when he said it because I'm just like,
I wish I would have seen that, Jerry, because I can imagine it in my head.
I kind of nudged somebody next to me, a listener of ours who was there. I kind of nudged him. I was like, you heard that, right? You heard that, right? When we say it, blasphemy, Nick. But when they say it, it's a joke. Oh, it's so funny. But look, I'm gonna tell you, man. I said last week, Nick, and I told you this here that the way you sell the community is you have to kill the press conference. Like you have to dominate the press conference. I think
he did.
Coach Q, he gets an A++ from the press conference. And you know what was more hilarious about that? I think the man was openly recruiting Hosanna while he was giving the press conference. Like he was like, hey, we're going to do this. Bro. We're going to be Hosanna's sitting there on the couch with a few of the players. He's like, hey, we're going to do this, 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 and this. Right, Hosanna?
But
hey,
here's
man,
my question, Jerry.
we got this vision. We're gonna go to Final Four, right, Hosanna? And he kept looking at Hosanna.
But that tells you what kind of not only recruiter, but man, he is. Like he's looking at him saying, "Hey, man, I want you on this team." Yeah. If somebody's telling you, "I want you here," don't you want to be there, bro?
And I think he said he's like, I'm a why not us type guy. If you notice the clip we posted the other day on Rager Review, I posted that clip because I want people to understand what the basketball expectation and the basketball standards are now. It's no more, well, let's see what happens in the Sun Belt and get to the tournament. It's not that anymore. That's the bare minimum of the expectation here for UL basketball. I'm telling y'all right now, UL basketball as of Monday, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, the standard has risen. The standard is a lot different. The expectations are different. It's no more just making the dance. It's getting into the dance, being a bracket buster, and being that Cinderella team that Houston turned out to be in back in the day, and they're now a powerhouse. That's what Coach Quantis White wants for the UL basketball program. He specifically said, everybody, the whole entire community, get behind this team, buy your tickets. I want the Cajun Dome packed and rocking. Very similar to what Coach Hud said about Cajun Field when he was hired. Wants the Cajun Dome to be the most dangerous place to play in America. So look, now it's time for the community. Now that we have a coach that we've wanted and a coach that has the resume, he's asking Acadiana to buy tickets, show up, and make that place a loud place to play. I think he's going to put together a really talented team. The man's got connections. He's got a great recruiting record. He's from the area. I mean, he's from New Orleans. He probably knows this entire region when it comes to the talent and the bed of talent that we have. And like Carson said, this program needed energy. I think we've got that jolt of energy with this hire, and I expect him to announce probably in the next few weeks, Nick. I'm sure the board has to approve all of it, but you'll probably hear some news on his staff. And his salary and all of that other stuff.
Hopefully Zim gets to stay on, man.
At least talk to. And I also want to say that
I've heard that is something that is a possibility. So love to see.
Right. And behind the scenes too, I've talked to a few people that want to be a part of the basketball program, even if they don't get on staff, do something behind the scenes to really booster this program and helping the community get behind it. And I'll talk more about that as time goes on. It's very preliminary right now, But look, man, I don't know about you, Nick, but I feel like this basketball program is headed in the right direction. I'm ecstatic.
I bought season tickets, bro.
I know.
Never in my life brought season tickets.
I got them
for
too,
basketball, but I did. I bought
right.
two.
That's right.
We'll give
got
some
them
away
too.
when I can't be there. But you know, I love Juana saying Hosanna Stain. Stay tuned, man. We got some
Stay
good stuff
tuned.
coming up.
That's right.
all
Stay
I got
tuned.
to say.
Was that Weymouth originally? He changed it to Juanis now.
Who knows?
I love it, man. I'll see now.
I can't.
Coach
keep up
Q
with the
got his
burners.
own. You know. Oh, and by the way, Nick, Coach Q, he has on his Twitter account. He only has 7 followers, and guess who's one of them?
Me?
Yours, no, us. Rage and Review, man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Rage and Review. So
I mean, if
you
he's
know.
the one got 7 followers, he got some work to do. But
That's right. That's
pretty
right.
sure. Pretty sure he is. Carson's asking, can we interview players? The answer is no.
No, we can't.
We cannot interview anyone because the university
They just don't like us.
They say no to everything. So there is that.
They just
But
don't
you're
like us.
welcome
But
to
that's
reach
okay.
out to them and let your feelings known. Jerry, before we head out, we got a Galton here. Owen Galt's family. I love it, man.
All right.
I love it. Look, the Galts. I was sad I didn't get to meet them this past weekend. They were looking for Rage and Review folks. I tried to send Josh, who was in a bad mood Saturday, but you know,
He's always in a bad mood when we lose
dear
baseball
Galts,
games.
when we're winning and you're there, and if I'm in town with a voice, I will go out there. So
Yeah.
definitely. Jerry, before we get out of here, any final parting thoughts? It's been a long look. We had a lot of stuff going on. We talked about tonight's game. We talked about, I mean, obviously I had the coaching interview. We had Monica on. There was a lot going on tonight. But before we head out, anything you have to say, final thoughts on your end?
There's so much going on right now. Obviously, I would love for the Diamond Sports to be playing better. It's their work in progress. Obviously, we're going to stick with them. But when it comes to facilities, when it comes to our new basketball coach, when it comes to just, there's so much behind the scenes that's going on right now here, whether it's with athletics or at Rage and Review. So the wheels just keep turning, Nick. The wheels keep turning. We take it one day at a time. As I've always told everybody over the last month, just brace yourselves and get ready because Rage and Review to the moon. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We're going to keep doing what we're doing, but even better.
Oh,
the best we can, right?
Let's just say there's a lot down the pipeline that I think
coming,
our
brother.
listeners are going to be very impressed with. Let's just leave it at that.
I'm excited about it. I actually have to put some work into it because I'm kind of lacking there right now. I owe some people some things to get this running, but we're good. If my mom and dad are watching right now, especially my dad has this unhealthy hatred for D.L. Menard and this song. So I don't know what's going on, but we're going to play it on the way out. Jerry.
Oh, the back door.
Oh, he hates.
You don't like the back door?
You know, he just does not like D.L. Menard. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And my dad likes everybody, but whatever. Like, subscribe, please share this, share our YouTube and through all other sources. We are trying to get to 500 on YouTube to try to get you guys some really special things. We're very close, but need your help. So appreciate you, Dougie, Carson, Wattis, the Galts, Carsons, all of you. Appreciate you. Like, follow, subscribe. For Jerry, I am Nick. I'll say what you say, Jerry, all the time. Thanks for following and listening and loving us at Rage and Review. Have a good night. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, bro. Go Cajuns.
Mon vieux parrain soit qu'on arrivé, il a essayé de chanter mon idée. J'ai pas écouté, moi j'avais trop la tête.